Oh,
Oh, we are. Let's say,
hi everyone. How are you? It's another Saturday, and I wanted to come live again because I really have a special guest today. I was planning to do this live for a while now, and luckily Adina found some time for us. For the ones that they don't know me, my name is Luminita. I live in Milton, Ontario, Canada for 10 years now. And I started a series of lives back in, I don't even remember, probably it was like February or March, because I wanted to bring some value, and I wanted to invite different people because I follow them online or in real life, and I get really inspired by them. So, for the people that they already follow me for the past months, you already know that I had a bunch of guests, like different fields, different stories, and I took a break for summer. For different reasons, but last Saturday I started again, and I hope I can continue this series of lives for the future. The lighting is not so great, so I apologize for that. I'm still under renovation, so I still don't have my place set up, but it will get better. I promise that. Okay, so let's start. If you don't mind, just hop on and chat with us and tell us, from where you're watching. Today, this live is in English because this was Adina's preference, because she's working in English, so I guess for her it's easier to explain what she does. But feel free to, even if you're not like an English speaker, I bet you understand. So leave us a message from where you're watching us, and also how's the weather over there? Because here and I guess Adina, it's the same for you too, right? It's rainy today, it's cloudy, it's chilly. It's like it's fall, right? So
Mhm.
fall, autumn, whatever you used to call it.
Yeah.
We can't change that, but I hope we can bring some, I don't know, some warmth here with our live and our conversation. So let's start. Adina, thank you again for accepting my invitation and for being live here with me. So do you mind to tell us who is Adina, and who is Adina? Let's start like that.
Oh my God. We're
I know
like,
it's a hard question, but let's see.
well, wow. Um,
That hard?
I mean, yeah, who is that Dina? Just Jesus. Okay. Well, I'm 33 years old, and I'm a therapist, a psychotherapist, and I live with my dog,
Ryder.
my dog Ryder, who's sleeping here beside
He's,
me. So
he's your
hopefully he's
baby.
gonna be a good boy and sleep for the whole session.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, wow,
For how long you've been
one
to
of those
in
questions.
Canada?
I've been in Canada since I was 13,
Hmm.
so that's 20 years. It's yeah, it's a really long time. I can't believe time has passed by so quickly.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So,
I'm originally from Brasov. Yeah.
see, I didn't know that. That's very nice. Okay, so tell us what you're doing right now. So, what's your occupation?
Yeah, so I'm a psychotherapist. I work from home mostly now with the pandemic. And once a week I go to the office, and I really enjoy helping people. Like this is what I do.
Okay, so how did this all started? Like, how did you decide to become a psychotherapist? Like, what brought you into this field? Was it something that you always wanted to be, or whoa?
Yeah, yeah. I've always wanted to be, and it's one of those really cheesy stories. I remember I was in grade 10, and my parents used to have friends over, and they started to ask me what I want to do, when I grow up. And I didn't know, but because more and more people started to ask me, I started to think about it. And I remember lying down in bed, looking at the moon, and I thought of the setting in which I want to work in, the environment. I thought of all of those things, and I knew I wanted to help people, but I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be a lawyer. And then I think that
What's wrong with lawyers? What's wrong with lawyers?
because I am very shy, and it wasn't my thing to always be in the center of a public appearance. It was nothing that something is wrong. I think I would have loved to be like a lawyer if I was more confident public speaker. But I just knew myself. I was like, I want to help people directly, and then that the word therapist just popped in my head, and since then that is what I pursued religiously speaking. Yeah.
So what are the courses that you did to become a therapist?
Oh my gosh. Well, of course I had to take psychology in my undergrad, and then I decided to do my first master's, and I didn't know if I was going to get in, so I went to my first master's in England for a whole year,
Mm-hmm.
but it ended up being the wrong program. It's like, the mistakes that we make when we're young, when we don't really have a clear direction or knowledge or information. And my path was nowhere near direct, even though I knew what I wanted. Um, Soon I realized that there was just so many aspects in psychology, and I had no clue. I had
Mm-hmm.
no clue what I wanted to do. So it was a bit of a hit and miss. And after that, I was done my program, I took a break from it all, and then I went back to my second master's, which is actually um, the master's in counseling that was able to certify me to practice psychotherapy. So that is when my career started taking over in 2018.
That was my question. So you're doing this for a few years now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to ask you, what kind of people are the ones that they're your clients? They become your clients.
Well, it's people that first of all decide to search for
Yes.
help online, right?
Mm-hmm. And they
I think
accept that they need help, right?
yeah, so most people recognize that they have anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main thing that drives people to seek help, is that they realize that they have these symptoms or behaviors that they cannot explain. For
Mm-hmm.
example, if they realize that they don't want to be around people, um, or that they have relationship issues that's affecting their life, or they're feeling alone, they want a relationship but they can't have one, um, and then just people that have panic or anxiety, and it affects their life to the point where um, it interferes with their plans. And I right now I'm in a general practice, so I get people that are young. I have a few teenagers, and I also work with people that are older,
Mm-hmm.
that are going through midlife crisis, and realize that the things that they've ignored their whole lives, and the unresolved issues are coming up. Yeah, because these things don't go away. They follow us, and then they pop up at different parts in our lives, and then I think people reach a point where they're like, "Why is this here again? I can't stand it anymore, and I need to do something about it."
Yeah. Have you noticed an increase in the request of help, like since last year, since we started this pandemic? Have you noticed like many more people reaching out?
I think the amount of people has increased a lot. Also, it's hard to tell completely because when the pandemic started, I lost all the clients because I think everybody was afraid. Nobody knew what was going to happen. So I cannot really compare how
Before
my
the
summer
pandemic?
would have been like compared to this summer, but I was definitely busy all year round this year, and even busier earlier on than I was last year.
Yeah. But do you notice that some of their anxiety is related to the current situation?
Um, I you know, nobody really comes to me saying COVID has ruined their life, but everyone is saying COVID has made everything worse.
Yeah.
Like, people that already have relationship difficulties or difficulties navigating their families or their children, and now they're working from home all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it just makes everything much harder. Um, and they have no outlet, right? They don't go to work, they don't get a break. Now they can go to have to do something fun. The gyms were closed, so a lot of people had all these outlets, they no longer had them,
Mm-hmm.
and then their symptoms got worse.
Yeah, I agree. And now I want to look at you. So, what do you think you need to have in order to be a therapist? Because this could be hard, right? Like you speak with so many people, and you. It's important not to take on their like heaviness, right? Their
Mm.
issues and their anxieties, and then their problems and issues. And so, what do you think? Therapy should have, and what do you think
Mhm.
you have that makes you do this job, because it's a
Mhm.
job, right? Great.
I love your question. Yeah. So what it takes is, well, a lot of self healing, first of all. And the reason I say that is because at the fundamental of our humanness, we all have similar issues, right? There are issues that people have that are connected to what it's like to be a human being. And in order for me not to take things on means that I have to have a lot of the common things resolved in a way. Otherwise, it's not so much that I would take it on. And I mean, I can tell this because I know how I was when I started, and I know how I am when I am now. And when I started, I just wouldn't be able to either understand my client very well, or I would get stuck or fearful that I'm taking them down the wrong path. Because, when you work with a human being, it's not like, oh, here's a broken table, let's fix it. There's a broken computer, let's fix it. I'm working with the nervous system, and not just the nervous system of a person, but it's their whole life. And I think I had a lot of fear uh, about taking them on the wrong path or influencing them in the wrong way. And I think that a lot of therapists have these fears, and we're therapists tend to be naturally hard on themselves because there's a great responsibility that we hold towards people and society, right?
Yeah.
So the self-healing is essential because it clears up all these doubts and fears, and challenges me to have more compassion, because that's one of the ingredients, is how do you generate compassion for the client. And a non-judgmental attitude towards the client is by learning how to not judge myself, learning how to love myself, because I have to do it inside before I can. I mean, it's kind of parallel,
Yeah.
it's not before and after. Actually, it's compassion for me, it's compassion for another, it's very similar.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I wanted to mention something. So we've only met once, but like this is what I noticed. Like you're very calm. And you have such a like a positive energy, and
Thank
yes,
you.
that's actually I can see why you're a great therapist, because even me now talking to you right now, like I don't feel anxious, I don't feel, like I feel very calm, like it's very pleasant to stay here and talk to you. How did you achieve this actually? Like how did you achieve this state? Are you doing anything like in particular? Like are you um just give us your secret, like what do you do? Do you do self development? Do you do, like, I don't know, like meditation, or like what do
Well,
you
it's the therapy style itself,
okay,
that I go through, and yeah, with
the
my
mindset
mentor.
the mindset that you have.
Uh, yes, I mean, not so much the mindset, it's the therapy style, and I've been the client in my own therapy style. You know,
Yeah,
you
but you're
like you
not
can,
worrying like that. Exactly what I said. So when we've met, we didn't meet like in like a therapist and client
yes,
perspective.
yeah, it was
We
a
met in
social setting. Yes,
yes, we met in a normal life, and you're still the same. Like you're still like very comforting, very calm
yes,
person, positive,
yes,
pleasant. That's what I mean. So it's I don't think this is only
yeah.
like
I yes. So it's like yes. So it kind of, as I became more whole, I started to be more consistent and put myself out there in different situations. It doesn't matter. I'm still
yes,
me wherever I
exactly.
go. Yeah.
Exactly. So you reach that state of mind where when you're like that, no matter if you're like talking to a client or you're just dealing with, let's say, with a normal situation, you're in a store or you're somewhere else with friends, right? You're still
Hmm.
the same. Um, so how long do you feel? So let's say your client reaches you, right? Let's say, just gonna take an example, like general anxiety. Like how long and how many sessions, like approximately, like you a client will
Mm.
need to resolve his issues or her issues, right?
Well, that's a tough question because
I know it's
it
hard to.
depends. It depends on so many things,
Mm-hmm,
and it's especially the openness of the client to process and feel their emotions. Because if the client comes in and wants a solution, but they're not open,
mm-hmm,
um, I could say, okay, here is the solution. I know what the solution is, but can you apply it? And then you know what I mean. Like we all know what we need to do in our lives. Do we practice it? Do we apply it?
mm-hmm,
And oftentimes I have to go and nitpick at that because if I have a client that's very self-conscious and wants to come in front of me and impress me, then it's such a big threat for that person to for me to like, okay, hold on a second. You're telling me today you're feeling great, but you only had one session, and we need to take a look at this, and this, and that. You know what I mean? It's not a clear cut. But here are I can tell you a little bit about my favorite clients in the
mm-hmm.
sense that these are the clients that I feel like I can truly reach. And these are the clients that realize they're having issues. They can, they allow me to, um, let's say, they trust me to tell me the things that they're not very proud of, the things that they feel shameful about, their anxieties, potential their fears and regrets. And when that starts, that is initially one of the things that I'm trying to move clients towards being able to tell me about those things. Because once they do, then they can enter a process where they can tell me more about what's happening inside them with their anxiety, what it feels like in their body, to trust that I can take them to that place, to the root of their pain, really.
Right.
And those are the
Start
clients that are able to step into the root of their pain. These are the clients that will feel different,
mm-hmm,
right? So for me, it's like, oh yeah, it's such a difference when I say, oh yes, I applied this, and that, and it's kind of white knuckling. A lot of clients like to white knuckle things. They like to do good things on paper, but have you really changed the way you feel? And um, I think the process that I was telling you about earlier, when they actually change the way they feel inside, that's actually the one that brings about the greatest change.
mm-hmm. So how are these sessions? Are they like video chats or like they're just phone conversations? So they're video chats, right? Or you see the person in front of you, so you can see like the mimics. You can see
Yeah,
um, kind of
yeah.
if they're
So I,
lying
I
or
see I see them the way you see me and the way I see you. That's
exactly.
what I see. Yeah.
Okay, so I would ask you if you don't mind at the end of the live, you can if you can leave us your contact information. So for if we have any interested people, they can reach you out. It's either your phone number or email address. I would encourage because exactly what we talked here today. Like I hear it every single day. It's either at my workplace or on the social media. people are overwhelmed because exactly what Adina said. They're working from home, the kids are home, places are closed. They don't have what they had before. They don't have a place where they can just go. And I don't know, express themselves or do something that takes away the stress and everything. So this is what I see every day, and I'm not going to lie. That doesn't mean I'm great and I'm doing great. Like sometimes I'm very overwhelmed too. Luckily, I have my parents here with me, so they take care of the kids when I'm at work. But I know that people are very stressed right now. Like this pandemic, it's really taking a toll. Like remember last year in March or something, like we were told that that's gonna end in a year. Here we go, like 2 years later, and we're still not over this.
Mhm.
So what do you I know, like, because they can reach you out, but like what would you tell like to a person that feels very stressed right now, feels like they don't have anywhere to go, like what is something that they can do just at home to relax and like
Mm.
just feel a bit better? Can you give them any advice?
Okay. Well, wow. First of all, I think when people start to feel that way, it's because they feel like they're alone
Hmm.
and that nobody understands them.
Hmm.
And I think one of the strategies that I really liked, given by one of my mentors, was that you can think of all the people in the world that have the same problem as
Yeah.
you, because you can't be the only person, and you can actually visualize every single person in this world, like a bunch of group that are going through the same emotions, the same issues, the same questions, the same internal conflict, the same feeling of, I don't know, depression or disappointment with your life or whatever it is, and feel connected and feel like, okay, this is part of the world and it's okay. It's okay to have a problem and it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And sadly, we live in a society where there's just so much pressure that we have to be happy, or we have to have certain things put in place in order to have value, or you know
Hmm.
that the, that's the stuff.
I totally,
The
I totally,
expectations.
yeah, I totally agree, and I believe
And
that.
it's hard. Maybe we can have some. It's hard to have them all at the same time. It's probably impossible. So you want to have it all. Maybe you can, but not at the same time.
Yes,
And sometimes things come and go in life. And if I think if we always hold ourselves up at the standard that they always have to be perfect, everything has to be perfect at that level, and if it can't be perfect at that level, then everything is falling apart. Then I mean, we're setting ourselves up for a lot of disappointment.
yes.
And it's really that self-compassion for ourselves to be like, you know what, it's okay. Maybe I lost this or that, or maybe this or that is not really that great, but that's okay. Maybe it's happening for a reason. And I mean, that's the first thing, right? It's that self-compassion. A lot of people don't know how to feel compassionate towards themselves in that way because they get stuck in a very critical mindset where they cannot tolerate the fact that the things that are not going well are not going well. It feels really intolerable. It feels like a threat to their life, a threat to their system, a threat to their happiness. Um, in those situations, there are breathing techniques that can help. Yeah.
What I would just add, so what I found that works for me. So whenever I have a hard moment, either like at home or at work, for me it works to think that it could be worse. So let's say I have a moment where, let's say I have to do something important, and the kids are all around me, and I feel annoyed. I just stop and I think I have to remember how blessed I am. I have two beautiful kids. Thanks God they're healthy. And then I like that mood like just disappears.
Mhm.
Or let's say I'm very stressed at work or something like that. Or and then I think, I'm so blessed that I have a job.
Mhm.
Again, like maybe like,
Yeah.
someday I come at home and home, the house is a disaster, is a completely mess, especially right now with the renovations.
Mm.
Um, and I
Mhm.
start to, like my anxiety or to get
Yeah,
angry.
because you like stability,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You
And
like
then
you
yeah,
like stability, so when something happens that tips you over, right? And then your nervous system will react, because see, like everything is a triggers, and
yeah.
like it's like boom, and we don't have control about how the nervous system triggers. I always say, when something happens that throws you off balance, your nervous system will like a Christmas tree. Ding!
I
you
never
know?
heard that, but
And then
that's
you're like, whoa, whoa, what is this? Where's all this coming from? And I guess when you have those thoughts that, okay, this is going well, that is going well, you're kind of reorganizing your your nervous system inside, being able to go back to that emotional stability and kind of walk it through, and you realize, okay, actually I am stable. It's just this piece that's not, but the rest of me is okay.
But I guess it's hard to do that, right? Like it sounds easy when you say it, but like sometimes it's very hard to think like that,
Yes,
right?
yes, because it takes a different time, and depends how bad the situation is for the nervous system to get the message. And I mean, this is where my work comes in, because, for example, if there's a very distressed part, for some reason there's an intolerability for something not being stable, something not going well, and that is, it's a very high level of threat, which is why the anxiety and the overwhelm comes up so strongly. And if it's usually a part of us that's also stubborn, or really needs things to be in a certain way, and that does is that comes with that stubbornness, that part of us will not be satisfied until something changes that will satisfy that part.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's complicated, because those parts of us, the part of the nervous system that gets triggered and gets stubborn, is actually split off from the rest of the nervous system. It runs on its own loop.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes, even though the brain tries to communicate it, it cannot always reach it, because it's like its own closed loop,
Mm-hmm. I understand.
right? So
So
it's hard to reach.
yeah, would you say, we're just gonna take the anxiety, let's say, so would
Mhm.
you say the anxiety uh, can resolve, let's say, to a patient that actually like does the therapy, listens to your advices, does whatever you require to do, so the anxiety actually resolves?
Yes, it does go down. Actually, so for a client
And
that
we don't need
has it all,
medication, right? No
after 5
medication.
sessions,
No
uh,
medication.
sorry,
With no medication.
no medication. So I mean, I even had a client today, and I think I have 5 or 6 sessions, and the problem was that he would freeze. So he would talk to his wife, he would freeze, and then he would end the conversation because he would freeze, and nobody could tell him that he was freezing. And he had many therapists before. Nobody could tell that his problem is that he's freezing, and I noticed that he was freezing even with me.
Mm-hmm.
And we started to address the freeze and why it's there. And I think after 5 or 6 sessions, now he's telling me, I notice myself freeze, but I don't let it take it over me. I know this is there, but then I do what I need to do anyway, which is huge, right?
Yes.
It's like you're in your early 40s and you've done something your whole life. You didn't even know what was going on, and all of a sudden there's a solution, right?
This is great. This is amazing. Honestly, like I didn't know that you can actually resolve the anxiety without medication. So that's very helpful. See, like this is something that I learned in this life. So I thank you so much, Adina. I thank you so much for your time. And I can't wait to have you another time if our friends they have any questions or anything. So
Mhm.
I actually encourage you guys to reach out to Adina if you think that you have some issues that they don't let you live the life you want. I bet Adina is very approachable, and she can work with you and to resolve your issues. And until next time, I hope everyone will have a great weekend. Adina, I wish you all the best. Good luck
Thank
with your
you, and
work.
I'm so honored that for invitation, and it's actually the first time that I get to talk about it.
I'm so happy that you accepted to come here today. And as I said, I can't wait to have you again because I really enjoyed this live. I hope everyone found it useful as I did. So maybe next time, if I will get questions after this live, maybe next time we can set up like a more specific interview where you can address some of those questions and concerns.
Hmm. Okay.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
guys. Thank you, Adina.
Thank you.
I hope everyone, is well and you have a great weekend, no matter where you are. And until next time, stay safe and stay healthy. Bye, guys.
Bye.